So our next topic is APIs and inclusion management, which will be presented by Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, chairman and founder of EST Group. EST Global is one of our platinum sponsors. Dr. Bhaskar is a global leader of transformation of the financial ecosystem and transforming it through digital evolution, fintech revolution, and financial inclusion. He is a regular conference speaker, visiting faculty for a number of institutions, and published author, not only in technical books, but also some poetry. So, Dr. Bhaskar, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving a very delightful introduction about me. Now, let me just fix the screen. I don't know what is happening here. Yeah, can you see the screen?
We're still seeing the PowerPoint window view if you're trying to get
Yeah,
it to full screen.
PowerPoint. Yeah, so you can see the PowerPoint, no?
We still see the editing view. Yeah, we can see the slides though, so you're good.
Okay, fine, thanks. So I'm Dr. Sindhu Bhaskar, co-chairman and founder of EST Global Inc. And we are an impact platform. So APIs have great resonance for us, and they are very, very relevant for us. Now, the previous speaker, Nenad, has been talking about APIs, and he has given a very good explanation about APIs and their roles and what they are doing. So what I am going to do, I will just briefly touch about the APIs, and then I will go into the like how they are implemented in the inclusion model, and why we talk APIs are the APIs economy, which is important for financial inclusion. So just to borrow the words of Capgemini report, which states that APIs are tiny bits of code that allow different systems to interact with each other. They are tools to reduce the financial costs, time, and human input required to integrate and connect people, places, systems, data, and algorithms while authenticating them. Now, the very question will come up that were we not doing all this communication between data earlier? If you recall those days of digital era when we had our computers and all, we were just communicating with other computer, nothing much. And in that model, what was happening that there were not multiple players which had to be connected. So it was one computer interacting with other computer, that's it. Now the situation changed when there was meltdown of global economy and there was emergence of cryptos and especially Bitcoin. Of course, we are not going to discuss the Bitcoin, but that was the turning point in the economic history of modern times, as we can say. And that was the birth era of fintech. Now, APIs started playing a very important role, and their contribution was phenomenal. Like Nenad also spoke about it, I will like to repeat that API role is very great in content moderation, data privacy, business model, regulation and liability, special inclusion, user protection. So they are providing a layer to our transaction by which we can control what sort of data we are going to use and what type of services we are going to use with the purpose and intent of reducing the cost, reducing the transaction time, reducing the transaction charges, and what sort of activity we will allow to pass through. So that API becomes the important pass-through medium by which softwares are going to communicate to each other, and the functionality, the platform can function in a suitable manner. So we are guiding the economic activities accordingly. Sorry. But did we not have all those things earlier also? As I said, yes, we had, but with the fall of the centralized era, everything changed the concept of our banking transactions, and there was a revolt against the legacy system and the time taken by banks to complete a transaction, charges that the banks were taking to close a deal and transaction, all those became the point of friction and point of, I should say, communication between different systems, that these must be changed and these must be given a new look. So with APIs, what happened that backend system got a different face, and of course the APIs had to be public APIs. Then only different softwares could communicate. Because if had it been private API, then it becomes a permission system, and free flow of data cannot be there. It will again create a bottleneck. So that had to be a public domain of API movement. And the biggest, I should say, the harbinger of tech revolution was mobile banking and mobile applications, because that started the new era of economy, mobile economy, as we say. Uh, uh, that was the real transformational chapter of economy. So mobile and web applications developed. And what was the whole purpose of it? The purpose was that whosoever is using these smartphones, they will be able to extend those banking activities for themselves. These institutions can create more customer base because they can penetrate deeper into the countryside and different areas with digital banking. That will result in the increase of revenue, and it will stimulate innovation also. Because when, as I said, that when Bitcoin emerged, three things happened simultaneously. One was emergence of blockchain concept, second was cryptography, and third was decentralization, P2P transaction. So these three special points guided our economy since then. And mobile system and banking was the biggest tool to carry it to all nooks and corners. Of course, the work is not complete. We have to do a lot of things, but the freedom it allowed to different individuals to create applications as per their own volition and as per their own imagination, that was something rare, because earlier those situations were not given to individuals. So whatever government directed, people were doing that. So here was the totally decentralized atmosphere, and that is why we started talking about CFI versus DeFi and all those things. And of course, when now we are carrying it to DAOs and whatnot. So I will not transgress from my basic topic. The purpose of this statement was to say that API started a new trend in banking and inclusion, because it was focused towards a target group and a target audience and a target objective. Now, those who were trying to do API integration with others, they had different roles to play. Either they were suppliers of API, like in neo banking and all. What happened that a main bank provides its API to another entity, digital entity, which can carry on the banking activities in their name on the basis of their license, but the whole activity and the whole incomes generation of the main bank gets extended to remote areas. The second is as distributor, in which the bank, financial institution, can offer products of third party and have their own share in all those transactions. The third was that bank itself acts as a platform provider. And in that, what happens that different type of services they can provide to different actors, and different actor means all a third party, and that's how the exchange of data can happen among the between the different parties through the channelizing agent. So API started adopting different dimensions and different roles, and that is why banking as a service, then BaaS and all those things, concepts emerged. That was the main, I should say, the role of API in financial organization. That was creating these agenda and these activities for different institutions, and it also broke the barrier of banking activities to be done only by banks. Here, by integrating even non-banking entities like corporate houses and all, they could start all these banking activities and economic actions courtesy and via API integration to different institutions. So that's how API role in expansion of economy to remote areas is phenomenal. And it is in this context, I will take you to the situation of India, because that is a classic case how API integration and API platforms have created financial inclusion and digital inclusion in India. And the main protagonist for that was again the Aadhaar platform, which is the UPI identity system. So it is tackling the identity system so that there is no fraudulent transaction. With that, genuine entities, they are getting connected to different institutions, and like from your mobile, you are doing banking operations, you are doing insurance operations, you are making payment for phones, you are checking weathers also. Whole lot of activities are within your palm. Now, how are you doing all those things? Because different APIs are integrated to that system, to that mobile, that platform which is running that mobile, and we call them value-added services. So those value-added services are important, and they are the real results of API integration system. Like in India, 600 million bank accounts have been opened by linking Aadhaar and different people to banks. Nearly 250 million new bank-to-bank customers were created. Subsidy and other disbursements were made directly to the account holders. So it removed all the intermediaries. The transfer time of funds was quick. There was no delay, and the transaction cost was drastically reduced. So it became a win-win situation for all these new account holders, because that was giving a real opening to rural economy in India. Same thing was happening in Africa also. All the developing economies were having these situations. Now in India, the hybrid model was not only that government was proactive. Government was proactive, even the corporates were proactive, market was proactive. So now you see Paytm as an UPI instrument. What is happening there? Paytm is available even in a remote corner of a village. Even all those hawkers, peddlers who are selling things on street, they are having those QR code of Paytm, and payment is getting exchanged between the buyer and seller. That is the power of API, which I'm talking of, and that is how the financial inclusion has been created. That more and more people have been brought in the ambit of this economic activity, and they could become real participants in the economy. Earlier, they were more spectators, and they were trying to do transactions through intermediaries. But here, with the advent of UPI, Unified Payment Interface, the whole gamut of exercise has changed. There is, in India, another aggregator model, uh, which is called Samati. It introduces collection of account aggregator ecosystem. It is again a big catalyst in introducing uh, open banking to the country. So APIs brought the era of open banking in India, and as I said earlier, it was a hybrid model where everyone participated. It was not only the activity of the government. Every individual participated in it as part of corporate house or other entity, even as public. They welcomed it and they adopted it so that it could be utilized for expansion of the economy. And that is how India is talking of now $10 trillion economy, $5 trillion economy, things like that. Now, this was nothing like out of blue. It was like decade old India stack, which is the we call it DEPA, Data Empowerment and Protection Architecture, which was created, and it was moved to create that unified system, because the API integration system not only added new activities, but it also solved the problems of payment and payment gateways. And because banks were taking a lot of time, they were taking heavy charges. So all those things became systematized. This is the picture of the open banking technology stack of EST. We have launched a neo banking in India, which is called Branches. So this is how we have created the open banking stack there. And we are working with migrant communities. So what is happening, that open banking technology is being used in neobanks through APIs, because they're connected to different banks using the API integration and providing various services. Like we are connected to Amazon, so our APIs are connected to Amazon services also, so that whatever orders are given, they can be fulfilled by Amazon. Because the software has to talk to each other, then only the orders given by our customers can reach Amazon. So this is the role of API in a neo banking. Nenad was also showing something like this. So this is the actual thing which we have implemented in India. That's why I'm trying to show this. The second is the integration architecture of neo banking for migrant community in India in Branches. So you can see user interface, transactional platform, products and services. Now in products and services, you are having wallet services which deposit, withdraw, bank account, P2P transactions, remittances, online payments, bill payments, QR code payment, card services, POS purchase, ATM withdrawals, online payments. So all these things we are doing. So this structure makes sense, whatever I'm talking of. And all are API integration, because different services are being provided. So API has enlarged the activity of the entity, be it bank, be it any other financial entity. It has not only expanded the banking like deposit and withdrawals, but this India stack also gave the concept of OCEN, Open Credit Enabling Network. Now, in this, what is happening? You are creating an aggregator model. In EST land, we have aggregator model. You can see different NBFCs, Nidhi companies, MFIs, fintech, trust, small banks. They are all participants, and branch and agents of these different entities. They are participating in providing loans, and all how they are connected. All are connected to the platform by way of APIs. so that whenever there is a borrower, they can place their demand, and on the display, all these participants can see and then they can react. So this is the power of API, that you can create model after model. And since it has created the decentralized atmosphere, so you have all that freedom. You don't have to take any permission. You come out with your imagination and try to create all this. So this is now capital via API, is single API, a capital creation in which you are doing multiple things. It is B2B checkout also, wherein BNPL, buy now, pay later is there. Invoice financing is there. Revenue-based financing is there. So all those things you are tackling through a single API. So one bank is not only connected to another bank for one through one API, like we have CIBIL system, which is the rating model, and it gives you the detail of the borrowers and all that, what is their rating. So when you get connected to CIBIL, you automatically get connected to different banks because their exposures are available on CIBIL. So that's how activities which an account holder is doing in one account gets known to all other account holders because of this sort of connection through one entity, and one API connection is giving multiple information. In India, there is, again, ISPIT is the Indian Software Products Industry Roundtable, which is non-profit technology, and that is guiding all these UPI type of technology and API integrations to create OSEN, DEPA, which I have discussed, Aadhaar, and UPI. And these are all agents of inclusion. And that is how I told you nearly 500 million accounts were opened under PM, village development scheme, account opening scheme, and direct subsidies and payments are made to rural people, which was earlier through intermediaries. Now I come to the last my presentation part, wherein I'm showing you how API integration model creates an ecosystem, because now API economy is an ecosystem model of economy, wherein different participants get connected through API and try to create fulfill certain objectives. So this is our EST Agrex platform. Why I'm showing my own platform? Because it is very easy for me to say that how to project that how APIs have done wonders and what we are trying to do in India and in Africa as well, especially in Ghana. So you can see in this agri-tech model, different type of services we are providing to agriculturists and farmers, like money transfer, account, neobank, investment schemes, even educational schemes like financial literacy. E-Rural 19 is the investment scheme. Then even lending for MSME, rural artisans, all that. And that with that, we are trying to create another rural structure of a rural exchange. Now, all this is happening because of the power of API, that we are creating a connect between different entities and trying to secure our objective. And that objective is financial inclusion, rural development, transformation of rural economy into commercial and commodification of rural economy. So this is the new scenario. This is the inclusion model of API. And I think I've taken enough time, so I'd like to stop here. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaskar. I think it's a great example of how APIs don't just impact technology, but how they really help people.